Ready, start. The format is part of the license and is independent of accounting standards and is in tune with the definition of gross revenue and is the basis for the calculation of license fee. It is only for uniformity that the account has to be maintained as per accounting standards AS-9 which are prescribed from time to time. Once the licensee provides the details to the government in format annexure second along with accounts certified by the auditor, the reconciliation has to take place. The accounting standard AS-9 is relevant only for whether the figure given by the licensee as to gross revenue is maintained in proper manner. Once gross revenue is ascertained, then after certain deductions, adjusted gross revenue has to be worked out. The accounting standard provided in AS-9 cannot override the definition of gross revenue, which is the total revenue for license and the funding in Union of India versus Association of Unified Telecom Service Providers of India in this regard is final, binding and operative. Accounting Standard AS-9 makes it clear that same is in the form of guidelines. It is not comprehensive and does not supersede the practice of accounting. It only lays down a system in which accounts have to be maintained. Accounting standards make it clear that it does not provide for a straitjacket formula for accounting but merely provides for guidelines to maintain the account books in systematic manner. The definition of gross revenue is crystal clear in the agreement. How the adjusted gross revenue to be arrived at is also evident. It cannot be submitted that the revenue has not been defined in the contract. Once the gross revenue is defined, one cannot depart from it, and the very meaning is to be given to the revenue for the agreement. Overall revenue has to be taken into account for determination of license fees without set off as provided in the agreement. The same was defined to simplify it to rule out the litigation, disputes and accounting myriads. The submission raised that the term revenue has to be interpreted as the consideration payable in keeping with commercial and financial parlance is what is intended to be avoided. Raising of such submission is a futile attempt that has been made to wriggle out of the definition of gross revenue which has been held to be binding in the previous judgment in Union of India versus Association of Unified Telecom Service Providers of India within bracket 2011 10 SCC 543. The submission that the contract recognizes the applicability of accounting standards, in our opinion, it is only to maintain books of accounts. To a certain extent, it cannot be disputed that to have clarity, uniformity, and definitiveness, the accounting standards lay down guidelines with respect to financial terms. However, when the financial terms in the agreement are clear in the form of definition of gross revenue governed by clause 19.1 of the agreement, the definition of accounting standard 9 cannot supersede it, which is a general one.